Hey folks on Target Training. Today I wanted to give you a short update or basically feedback on a scope that I've acquired recently. This is the Primary Arms ACSS 1x6. It has a very interesting reticle, and one of the reasons I decided to try this, even though it's a low-end optic, was because of that reticle. So the reticle has a post, a chevron at the top of that post, and then a horseshoe, as well as a bullet drop compensator. And it, when I first looked at it, I thought, wow, this seems like a pretty good deal for about $300. And I really did not want to jump into a $1,000 optic before I kind of got my feet wet a little bit. So I purchased this one based on some reviews I'd seen on YouTube, as well as some other things that I'd read, and I thought, well, okay, it's pretty decent to start with. What you really notice once you get it outside is the illuminated part of it is dull. It is not sharp and crisp or clear like in any other kind of higher end scope out there. And so I find myself, instead of using that, often just using it without the illumination. From a close quarter standpoint, yes, especially inside, you know, if you're just in your house and you bring the gun up here, with the illumination on, it looks really bright. But once you get out to the range, guys, it is not, it's not an aim point. It's not a Trichicon. It's not something like that on the higher end. It's certainly not a Night Force. Again, you know, you're looking at something like this for $300 versus the newest version on the Night Scope or Night Force of about $2,000. So obviously you get what you pay for. But that being said, for an out-of-the-box, first-time, lower-end optic, I think it does pretty well. The glass is clear, and when you're getting out to distance, so you know there's a huge difference as your eyes get older and being able to really focus in on and identify your target. What I found with bench shooting at the range is I was able to get really reasonable groups at 100 yards using, you know, just some Wolf Gold ammo. So it's, you know, 223. It's nothing fancy. And so I attribute that to the fact that the optic is really helping my older eyes see what I need to see, and that chevron with the horseshoe around it, that putting the focus at the tip of that chevron really makes a difference. Now, I haven't shot any distance past 100 yards. I'm hoping to get out on a 200-yard range and see how it performs there. But overall, I think it's a reasonable deal for what it is, and it does have some nice features. So if you're looking on the lower end to get into something like this, maybe as a 3-gun setup or something like that, you just don't want to drop a bunch of money into it, this might be a reasonable way to go. So over the next several months, I'll give you guys some updates. Got a class coming up in a few weeks. We're going to use it in that class, and then I'll give you guys some feedback about just how it felt. I'm a big believer, guys, once you get some gear, if you really want to test it, go do a class. Run the gun like you'd run it. You'll find a lot about both not only yourself and your own performance, but also about the gear and how the gear works. For example, the eye relief on this is pretty good. Come right up. It's right there. No problem whatsoever. It's right on. And I really like, from a close quarter standpoint, shorter distance targets using just at that illumination without any magnification in terms of distance, right? So both eyes open, shoot both eyes open, I come up, I see that horseshoe. If you've used an EOTech and you have that larger circle with a one MOA in between, it's the same kind of thing, right? So you come up on a target, center of the target, close distances, you know, I'd say within 15 to 25 yards. You can just bring that up, point the horseshoe right on the center of that target. You're going to get really good hits. So anyway, that's a quick look at, I think, a reasonably priced scope and optic for what it does. And we'll see how it turns out after we beat on it a little bit in some classes. Thanks so much for watching. As always, stay safe.